know if the, oh, here we go. All right. Okay. Ladies, it's Toby Wright from Los Animas, Colorado, with her single entry early junior yearling heifer, calved in March 2024. She's leading Lazy JB Belarus Arena, Miss Toby Wright. Okay. Need first call for the Open Hereford Junior Yearling Bull. I'll say something and they're like, that's not right. And then it's like, golly. All right, we can begin when you're ready. If you're ready to lead that heifer in, we'll get going.
We're going to do, the first class is supposed to be bulls.
Well, there are none on the page.
I know, but
Okay.
it says bull show is first.
Okay, well, are there any Angus bulls? Oh, I see. All right. Okay, forgive me, please. The Hereford bull needs to show first. So the bulls will show first. And then, if there's no Angus bulls entered, so I guess we need to go to the Hereford bull entry, which would be, forgive me, the schedule and what I'm given is not the same. So, the junior yearling Hereford bull needs to be our first. Okay. Forgive me, please. Well, we'll take some time to introduce Mr. Ernie Dominguez from Elgin, Texas. Ernie is a third-generation cattleman, and he grew up in, I hope I say this right, Mercedes, Texas. Is that okay? I've been down there enough to know to be a little bit different. And they ran a commercial herd of Brahman and Charolais cattle. So our Hereford bull has arrived for exhibition. This is Sticks and Stones from Cheyenne, Wyoming, and the bull was Fleetwood Mac. Junior yearling bull, calved between January 1st and February 29th.
All right. Well, good morning, everyone. I hope we're having a good day today. It's a beautiful day here in Colorado, and boy, what a way to start off this open bull show with this Hereford bull prospect here. I think this guy, in terms of just length of side, one that's still smooth and correct, really awesome footed and structured when you get him into motion. When you study him from behind, I think this guy is impressive over his top line. He's good when he moves out into motion. You see him track pretty wide and true. I just love the combination of look from the front. You work your way all the way back. He's got plenty of thickness and good angularity from hooks to pins. Really nice level top line. And again, just a sound structured, good looking, really good long-sided kind of a bull that has a lot to offer in a breeding program. Glad this bull came out here to kick off our show. Let's give him a big round of applause. Congratulations.
Congratulations to our Hereford exhibitor. That is Sticks and Stones from Cheyenne, Wyoming. That was Fleetwood Mac. He's your class champion, or class winner, pardon me, and he is your champion Hereford Bull in the Open Hereford Bull division. There's some premium money there for that operation. And next up, Peak View is our other bull from Peak View Ranch. Dr. Richard Leone from Fowler, Colorado, Peak View Ranch. This is Peak View Absolute Value. Absolute Value. These are bulls, calves born between September and October 24.
Another nice single entry here in the Shorthorn breed, and really one was stamped with a lot of style and presence. When you study him here from the profile, he too is a long-sided, strong-topped bull. When you get him into motion, I think he tracks, pretty well from the side in terms of having some good reach and go. When you see him from behind, perhaps don't want to see him just track a little bit wider and truer at the base. You love the thickness that he has and presents from behind. It'll be interesting to see as we kind of compare these two bulls when we bring them back in, how they stack. But I love the style and balance this bull presents. Let's give him a big round of applause.
Congratulations are in order to Peakview Ranch, Dr. Richard Leone from Fallard, Colorado. That Peakview Absolute Value is your class winner and your Shorthorn Division Bull champion. I'm getting word if we are going to modify our daily schedule. And are we picking a Supreme Bull now, or are we waiting till 4 o'clock? Now, judge says, the official, Mr. Dominguez, says we are picking the Supreme Bull. Drive is now. A little bit of history on Mr. Dominguez. His family had a commercial herd of Brahman and Charolais cattle, and as a junior, he exhibited Indu Brazil. It's not a lot of, we don't hear about that up here in the mountains. Brahman and Maine Anjou cattle, winning many showmanship contests throughout his junior career. Ernie now lives in Elgin, Texas, and is the executive vice president of the American Black Hereford Association. And his family owns Dominguez Show Cattle and Clinics, raising both club calf and purebred cattle.
Well, as we bring out these two breed champions, I think these two bulls are really high-quality individuals and bring a lot to the table, have a lot to offer. I wish there was more to compare to, but I think these two represent their breeds quite well. I'll kind of highlight the things I see, and perhaps now that we can compare the two cattle here in the ring together, kind of break them down just a little bit more on the things that I see, and then we'll pick a supreme champion and a reserve. We started off with the Hereford bull up front. I mean, this guy's extremely long-sided. He's strong-topped. He's really extended when you study him from that shoulder forward. You work your way back. You love how that really that hip design lays in, and the tail head, everything kind of lays in the way it should. He's got some good thickness there. You study him down low. He carries that substance low and true down in that stifle and that twist area. You like the foot size. You like the bone work. Everything is very proportionate. Now, if you wanted to, perhaps add some added look to him from the side, perhaps we want to soften him up in that midsection just a notch to kind of match up with the chest floor and work our way back. You love the scrotal circumference that he presents out here, just a really masculine, a really style-oriented bull that I think really offers a lot. He gives you a lot from the side. He gives you a lot when you get out and go and travel. As I mentioned previous in class, he walks wide and true from a width of base perspective. And so there's a lot of good in this bull and this individual. If we could soften him up in his midsection, that'd make him even better. We talked about the Shorthorn bull here that just came in. We're talking about one that's just a coming yearling here. We talked about his style and presence from the side. He balances up really nicely. When you kind of compare the cattle, you say, okay, well, he's a little neater in that chest floor. It lays in just a little bit better into his skeleton. You like the depth of side that he presents. You love the strength of top, and I think there's a combination of some length of side, some depth of body. No doubt the Hereford bull will be the longer-sided bull out of the two, but one that still balance up and still has some proportions. Now, you want to break them down just a little bit. Perhaps we want to tuck in that tail head and set it down into that hip region just a little bit better. Perhaps he could be just a little bigger hipped. He could kind of carry a little more substance up high and carry that a little bit down low. You love the scrotal circumference and development that he presents. When we get him into motion, he's pretty sound as we get him out and go. Like the foot size. I would like to change the angle to his inside back left leg on that pasture and just give it a little more angle and comfort and relax it just a notch. But that's still a really good bull that has a lot to offer the Shorthorn breed. So two really good individuals out here. I think they're high quality. They have a lot to offer. There's no doubt about that. I'll go show you your Supreme Champion bull in reserve out of this lineup here. I think there's a lot of good, like I just said. You break them down. They have a lot to offer. There's one that I'm just a little bit more comfortable out here with today. But I think these two are very, very good individuals. Let's give these exhibitors and breeders a big round of applause for bringing their bulls out here for the open show. Congratulations.
Okay. Congratulations to Mr. Gene Salon. The sheet here says he drove from Cheyenne, Wyoming. His his Supreme Champion Open Bull was Fleetwood Mac, and he was a junior yearling bull. Junior yearling bull calf from January 1st to February 29th in 24. And our reserve is Peakview Shorthorn Absolute Value. The Fleetwood Mac bull helped his owner earn a $1,000 prize. So and a banner from the Colorado State Fair Authority. Oh, yes, Beverly's here. Yes, she was. Yes, she's there. Oh, at the end, sorry. That concludes our Open Bull show for today. We scheduled, we had predicted quite a lot of time for today. We moved a lot of time around, and we had 2 entries. So the bull show has concluded. Again, the junior yearling Hereford bull, Fleetwood Mac, was your champion, Supreme Champion Open Bull. And they drove him down here from Cheyenne, Wyoming. That's pretty nice to have participation out of state. Reserve champion is Senior Bull Calf. That bull he'll be a yearling here in a few days. Peakview Absolute Value. Dr. Richard Leone and Trish in Fowler, Colorado. Peakview Ranch. Our judges informed us that the junior yearling Angus heifer single entry and the early junior yearling Angus heifer entry will be combined and into one drive. Which will determine both our class winners by default, and we're going to determine our champion Angus females. our entrance in the ring for the Angus female division is Lazy JB Belarus, I guess, Arena. And it is led and owned by, the breeder is Lazy JB Angus, and the owner is Toby Wright from Los Animas, Colorado. And then our early junior yearling heifer is Lakeview Bordeaux, led by Aaron Wright from Los Animas, Colorado. We appreciate these ladies bringing their Angus females to be evaluated and compete at the Colorado State Fair open breeding female show.
Was bringing out these two Angus females. So as indicated, they're both class winners, and we brought them since they were single entries just to compare them in one setting here, and then go ahead and select a champion and reserve. I just will add real quick that this is a daughter and mother duo here showing cattle, and that's what this is all about, is giving the opportunity for family to do something together. I can't think of anything better to do than showing livestock, and so I really appreciate them doing this here at the Colorado State Fair. And so we talk about that first female up front. There's no doubt in terms of just a female that's sound structured, good-footed, good-legged, one that's got some good swoop to the belly and a deep, soft side about her. A strong level top line, still presents some good look and presence when you study her from that shoulder forward. I think she's got some good angularity when you study her from hooks to pins. She's a very angular type of female. When you study her from behind, she's not super wide in terms of that pin set and then carrying it down low, but there's some good angularity there that you can really appreciate. And so if I wanted to change this female just a little bit, perhaps want to just make that hock in that set just a little bit more correct, but that doesn't take away from her mobility when we get her out in motion, and she really does balance up pretty nicely from the side. The female that comes out of that second class, boy, she gives you a really good look from the side here. You study that up-headedness and that presence and look, strong and level in her top line. She's just a wider-based, wider kind of female from front to back. She maybe isn't as deep and soft-sided as a female out of that first class, but there's a lot of length to side. There's a lot of three-dimensional shape, and she, too, is really sound when you get her into motion. I think she gets just a little bit elevated in her pasterns when we get out and go. She wants to naturally lead that way. I'd like to relax that just a little bit more, but there's a real good, true, with the base, a sound structured one that's just really three-dimensional that you'll have to like and appreciate. I would like to tone down some of that condition that's showing up in her tail head just a little bit, but there's a lot of good in that female. So two really solid females out of those classes. I'll show you your champion reserve for the Angus breed. Let's give them all a big round of applause.
And let's put our hands together for Miss Erin Wright with her Lakeview Bordeaux heifer. She is the champion Angus female, and her mom right behind her, Toby Wright, with Lazy JB Belarus, is your reserve Angus female. They will come back for the champion, Supreme Champion Open Female Division later this morning. Now we'll move back to our Hereford entrance. We'll see if our judge, we've got two single entry females. We'll see if he follows suit with the Hereford entrance as well. Okay. Okay. We will do, both Hereford females will enter the ring. They are your class champions in those individual classes and age brackets that they fall into based on the American Hereford Association. So in first is Miss Marie, who is an early summer yearling heifer. She was calved on May 15th, 2024. And Lillian McLaughlin from Yoder, Colorado. Then our junior yearling heifer, and she calved between January 1st and February 29th of 2024. And she is Pay It Forward, led by Charlie St. Louis from Yoder, Colorado.
As we move into this Hereford heifer female show here, again, a couple of nice entries here that are both class winners. We'll talk about each one, and then I'll show you the champion and reserve for this breed. We start off with the female up front. There's the obvious point of she's the youthful one out of the lineup here, just having a little bit, less condition. Fresh made kind of a female, one that's really extended up front. She transitions in really well into her blade on the top side of her loin and shoulder there. You work her way back, and she's got a strong level top line. She gives you some good length of side. She's maybe just a little bit rounder in terms of her angles from hooks to pins compared to the female that stands in right behind her. You love the soundness and the correctness that she presents from a feet and leg perspective. And when you study and talk about muscle shape, I talked about maybe the little bit of roundness there from hooks to pins, but she's got some good shape. It probably doesn't kind of carry down as low yet, and kind of TBD on that, on where that will go down the line. But I would like to see some more of that substance carry down a little bit lower and truer down into that twist and stifle region, just to kind of balance out some of that look in that rear third portion of her body. That's a really good style, poise, presence, kind of a female that's got a lot of freshness, it's got a lot of youthfulness, and I think she's got a bright future ahead of her. The female stands in right behind her. She's kind of the opposite of that. I'm not saying she's not one that doesn't have style and presence, but she's got more condition on her. She's a softer made, kind of a female that just blends in really good from front to back. She's deep bodied. She's got a big top. She's got a good hip, and she's got a lot of substance when you study her at every angle, still maintaining a really good maternal look about her all the way through. I don't mind the extra kind of looseness of her throat latch. I think all that kind of feeds and reads plays into just how easy fleshing she is as a female. I like her feet and legs. I think she really presents some good proportions from foot and bone work, and really gets out and goes. I would say, I think the extra teats maybe in that udder kind of throw off some of that balance and look. So perhaps if we could space out those four quarters just a little bit, would make her even better in this lineup. But two good females out here. Can't go wrong with either one. It just kind of comes down to your preferences on what kind of cattle you like in terms of type and kind. I'll go show you the order I like them. Let's give them a big round of applause.
Congratulations to our young junior Hereford exhibitors. Is it Charlia or Charlie? Charlie. Oh, okay. Charlie St. Louis from Yoder, Colorado, is your champion junior yearling Hereford heifer. Pay it forward, and your reserve champion early summer yearling heifer is Miss Marie, who was led by Lillian McLaughlin from Yoder, Colorado. Congratulations to those two young ladies. That concludes our open Hereford female division. We will move into our maintainer division. We have a single entry, Miss Claire Parker from Pueblo, Colorado, and she will be leading the maintainer winter yearling heifer calved in January through February of 2024, Fancy Jenny.
Single entry maintainer female here, and boy, I think when you study this female here from the side, there's a female that gives you a lot of style points. She's just so good looking from the shoulder forward. I think you couldn't probably draw one up any better. Some get maybe too carried away with being really tight and chiseled, and I think she's got enough of that, but she still has enough fleshability about her presence and look there. And all that still contributes to a female that's got some maternal look about her. So when we study her from the profile, big-bodied, strong-topped, some good length of side about her. You study her from behind, she's really good and wide from her pin width perspective and carries that muscle shape down low. You study her from the profile, I think she balances up really nicely. We get her into motion. She gets out and reaches and travels pretty well. I think she's got just a little extra set to her rear too on that hawk design, so it doesn't quite flex all the way when we get her out and go, but when we get her parked and in position, she knows how to kind of show that off, and she kind of walks into it, kind of relaxes her leg and set, and gives you a good look from the side. So I wish we had more to compare to, because I think there's a lot of good cattle here in this female, but She's the only one to represent the maintainer breed today. So let's give her a big round of applause. We'll see her back for the Supreme Drive. Congratulations.
Congratulations to Pinky, as we know her here locally. She's done a wonderful job. Beautiful female. Fancy Jenny, she is your class winner, and she's also your champion maintainer division winter yearling heifer. Now we'll move into our open shorthorn division. We have once again a junior heifer calf that was born this spring from Peakview Ranch. And then we have a spring yearling heifer that was born last March of 2024. And that's Reba's Fancy, led by Claire Parker. And Claire was just in the ring, so she's going to switch females and come back with her spring yearling shorthorn heifer. Are we going to combine both females again? Okay, well, that'll be the pattern of the day. In first is Dr. Richard Leone from Peakview Ranch with his single entry junior heifer calf. This heifer was born February 4th, 2025. These are registered purebred shorthorns, these females.
Boy, we've got two single entries here, both class winners, and we've got some cool females to really talk about here in the ring. And so when we start off with that younger female, this one's got some out there parts. She is so cool looking from the side, super extended, really up-headed. But even though she's so tight and neat and kind of chiseled up front, she still opens up and has some good body shape about her. Usually those two things don't go together necessarily, but she does. She bounces up really good from the side. She gives you an awesome profile and look. I like, foot size for where she is today is probably appropriate. We'd like to see that continue to open up and get bigger and more expansive. But the bone work that she has, the stoutness that she presents up high, I think when you study her, there's still some maternal look about her. She looks like a lady. She's certainly very female-like. But when you study her, and kind of compare her to the cattle or the female stands in behind, I see more natural substance up in that pin set and carrying down low. And at the end of the day, right now at the cow market, right, pounds do matter. Muscle contributes to that. I think she puts a lot of good look, style, presence, balance, all that together in a pretty three-dimensional kind of shape and package there. I think she's a pretty intriguing female. Then you get the female stands in right behind her, kind of maybe similar to our Hereford female class, where we got a soft-sided, little easier fleshing kind of a female in terms of how they present here today, like her foot size, like her bone work. Talk about that depth of body that she presents and softness there. When you study her in that rear third portion of her body, that's where she kind of gives up some natural shape and mass. And so then it comes down to, you can certainly breed around that. There are a lot of shorthorn bulls that can put some power into that female. Or do you go with a female that's got some additional bells and whistles, some out there parts, and already kind of has some natural shape about her where she is in this stage of the game? I don't think you can go wrong with either one. They're different in their type and kind and what they present. They're both very, very good females and can offer a lot to a breeding program. So I'll go show you the one that I like the best out of this lineup. But like I said, they're both very good. They both have different things they can offer. Just dealer's choice on what you like. So let's give them a big round of applause. Awesome set of shorthorn females today. Congratulations.
All right, let's congratulate Dr. Richard Leone from Peakview Ranch for his champion junior heifer calf. This little baby girl was born February 4th, 2025. And then, of course, let's give a round of applause to Miss Claire Parker with Reba's Fancy. They will get awards from the Colorado State Fair. The premium schedule, first place is $100. Second place is $75 cash prize. Then there's an additional $100 in a banner by the Colorado State Fair Authority, $50 in a rosette by the Colorado State Fair Authority. The Rocky Mountain Shorthorn Association sponsored an award as well, and Ed Cruz at the Cruz Ranch has also sponsored an award in the Shorthorn and Shorthorn Plus divisions. Okay, we're going to bring all of the open Shorthorn Plus females together. We have Callaway Lorenzo from Fleming, Colorado. She has a summer yearling heifer named Lipstick. Then we have a spring yearling heifer. Those are calved from March to April. That is Taven Locke from Fleming, Colorado. And she's leading Blues Angel Seymour. I guess we'll just call her Seymour. That's what's in quotations. And then our winter yearling heifer, the oldest division in the heifer classifications, is born Valentine's Day of 2024, is Blues Valentine, and that is led by Reese Locke from Fleming, Colorado. These are our open Shorthorn Plus females. And I believe if we follow suit with our Supreme Bull competition that was held earlier, we'll just move right into the Supreme Female division, or after we pick our open Shorthorn Plus champions, we'll go into the Supreme Female, which contradicts the schedule that was originally printed. would like to let the Supreme Bull competitors know that it'd be fun if you guys, if you could manage it, if you could come back in after we name the Supreme Champion Open female. We'd like to get those 4 head of champion cattle back in the ring for some good group pictures and recognition, if you're able to do that. Because one of our exhibitors is going to be handling 2 head.
Well, we move into our Shorthorn Plus female show here, and for those that aren't as familiar with the breed, we're taking our Shorthorn females and then we're crossing them with another registered breed, and so you get a percentage Shorthorn female. And so that's what we have out here, and that's why you see different colors and different types of how they're kind of put together. But there are three females that have some good, and so we'll talk about the give and take that's in this particular breed and division, and then I'll show you the two that I like the best. We start off with the red female up front. I think this one's got some extra punch and power when you study her from behind. I think she balances up pretty nicely from the side. She certainly has some good look and extension and what you would expect to see from, you know, kind of a percentage Shorthorn female. I think she's good structured when you get her into motion. Like her foot size, like her, you know, body type. I like her substance from a bone perspective, and then the power that she presents up high. When you kind of compare her to the cattle that stand in right behind her, you know, perhaps we can soften this one up in certain places to make her even better. But I think as she continues to, you know, kind of want to be more of a show heifer with a young lady, I think she'll continue to show even better down the line. The white female that stands here in the center, she's one that we talked about, softness of side and depth of body and body shape. She does that in her midsection. I think that's probably one of her assets. The other is her structure. When you get her out and go in terms of foundation of foot and bone and just the flexibility of her feet and legs, she's one that excels in this class. I think when you study her up front, she gets maybe a little bit shorter, you know, coupled in terms of that neck and extension. Doesn't quite have the look of the cattle of either side, but shoulder back, there's still a lot of good shape in terms of body shape, strength of top, some softness of muscle pattern in design there. She still carries it down low, but it's not as maybe expressive as the two cattle of either side of her. But there's a lot of good in terms of foundational things like feet and legs, structure, correctness, those kinds of things. She puts that together really well. She has some good maternal look about her. Really doesn't quite have as many holes, I guess, as maybe the cattle on either side. Maybe just doesn't quite have the out there parts that you'd like to see in the show ring, but there's a lot of good female in that white colored female. The black female that stands in right behind her, she kind of goes back to one that has, you know, maybe a little bit fresher in her condition, one that's still really good in terms of her lines and the way that she kind of presents in terms of being up-headed, extended, and offering some look. I think from the 3 cattle, she certainly has the most mass in terms of just muscle shape and turn down low and that power there. She's got some good body shape when you study her from the side, so there's some good balance there in terms of features. Her challenges are up front. She gets just too straight on both ends, and so she wants to get up on her toes up front. And when we get her into motion, she kind of wants to do the same thing on her rear too. It just restricts that additional reach I like to see when we get out and go from a flexibility perspective. So we need to change some structural things about her to give her more comfort at the surface, and then get out and travel the way I like to see my females. So 3 nice females. They are a little different. There's some things that they excel and offer. Wish we can kind of put some of these things together and we would make, one really, really solid female. But there's a couple I'm comfortable with in terms of what they present and the good they offer here from a breeding perspective. So let's give all 3 exhibitors a big round of applause. I'll show you the 2 that I like the best. Congratulations.
All right, congratulations are in order to our open Shorthorn Plus heifer. She was a spring yearling heifer. She was already a class winner, and she is your champion open Shorthorn Plus female. That's Seymour, that was led by Taven Locke from Fleming, Colorado. And the breeder there was Jeff Bedwell. Our reserve champion open Shorthorn Plus female was Lipstick, led by Callaway Lorenzo. That heifer was born June 28th, 2024, and the breeder was Drew Cattle Company. Congratulations to those exhibitors, and that concludes our divisions, and we will move into our open heifer Supreme drive. It was originally scheduled for 4 o'clock, but Mr. Dominguez has asked that we just go ahead and Supreme Bull and female selection we'll do the Supreme female selection at this time. So we need to have our open Shorthorn Plus champion. Then, well, I'll just read them back. But Angus, bring in your Angus female champion, please. Miss Erin Wright with Lakeview Bordeaux. Our open Hereford heifer champion, Charlie St. Louis. Maintainer champion, Claire Parker. Come on in the ring, ladies. This is your Angus female champion, Erin Wright, Lakeview Bordeaux. This heifer was born January 27th, 2024, from Los Animas, Colorado. Our open Hereford champion is Pay It Forward from the St. Louis Cattle Company. This heifer was born February 8th, 2024, and Charlie, her operation is located in Yoder, Colorado. Our open maintainer female champion was Fancy Jenny, led by Claire Parker from Pueblo, Colorado. The breeder was Nolan Gearing. Then our open Shorthorn champion Peakview Ranch, Belladonna. Dr. Richard Leone from Peakview Ranch in Fowler, Colorado. Breeder was Alexa Turner, and that heifer was born this spring, February 4, 2025. Our Shorthorn Plus champion that we just saw is Seymour. She was born April 29th, 2024, led by Taven Locke from Fleming, Colorado. She is the owner, and Jeff Bedwell was the breeder. These are your 5 breed champions for the Supreme Champion Open Female Competition. Let's put your hands together for these exhibitors, please. Our second place entries are coming in. We have Lillian McLaughlin leading Miss Marie from St. Louis Cattle Company. She was your reserve, open Hereford. That heifer was calved on May 15th, 2024. Miss McLaughlin hails from Yoder, Colorado. Tegan St. Louis was the breeder. Our reserve champion, Shorthorn. Claire Parker with Reba's Fancy. Paige Parker is the owner and the breeder. In our maintainer division, or Shorthorn Plus, excuse me. Callaway Lorenzo from Fleming, Colorado. She's from the Drew Cattle Company. She's leading Lipstick. That heifer was born June 28th, 2024. Those are your reserve champion females that have entered the ring as well.
All right, we bring out these breed division winners, and you know, I know we didn't have a whole lot of cattle, but I think the quality is good out here in this lineup, and there's some give and take certainly. I mean, you have to kind of prioritize things that you know kind of hold as important. And we've been breeding cattle for a long time, and you know my taste may not be the same as yours and all that, and that's okay. I think that helps us make even better cattle, because if we all had the same opinion, we would need to have all these shows, right, that we do have throughout the year. And so I'm just offering you my opinion on what I see. I kind of break them down. You know, for me, I start at the feet and legs, call it the surface, and see how they're constructed there. And then I work my way up and try to see if I can put some things together. And we're talking about females. I talked about structure and foundation. That's all important, because we hope that they're around for 10 or so years, depending on how long you want to keep your cattle. And then from there, they got to have some kind of mothering abilities and things that they can put together to be a good mother. So, you know, for cattle that are easier fleshing, easier keeping, then that's less input that you have to put in there. It's less cost out of your pocket to keep and maintain them, to then hopefully return something to your bottom line. And so The way I see them, start with my structure. I want good-footed cattle. They're not all built the same, I promise you. And then from there, working on our legs and the correctness, the way the joint works when we get them into motion. When we talk about balance of feature, do I have enough body shape, working our way back and carrying that substance throughout. I like to have cattle that have some three-dimensional shape to them, so that's some added muscle shape without being too masculine and steer-like. So there's the right amount of balance to put into that. I like to have, good top-line cattle. I don't need to have stuff that's super level. I think having some bend and flex to that top line actually is good. Especially, again, longevity speaking, the tighter spined ones probably aren't going to be able to get out and move as good for years to come. So having some bend and flex is actually okay. From a hooks to pins and hip perspective, having some angularity there is also good. I know we emphasize that a lot in the show ring, but from a mothering ability and calving ease perspective, having some angle to hooks to pins is actually a good thing. So there's some things that you could take on the things I just said when we talk about show ring 2. Having some style points tends to be important. So can I get some added look, some extension, and just some overall style and presence about them? And so when you look out here in a show ring or you take a backdrop picture, which one draws your attention to them but still has all those foundational things that are important. So I'm not going to break them all down again for you, just to say that, maybe highlight a couple things. The Angus female, she had some added substance compared to the reserve female. Talked about wanting to tone down some of that condition in the tail head, perhaps give her a little bit more correctness on that hock design to lay in just a little bit better. Super moderate Hereford female that's easy fleshing, easy keeping. I like her type. I like her kind. Wanted to change, the extra teats down low. It kind of impacts, or at least the look of spatial importance there from quarter to quarter, but that's still an easy keeping female. There's a lot of breeding possibilities based on what she presents. We get into that maintainer female, really good looking cattle from the side here in the profile. Perhaps wanted to soften up here and there, give her some, additional product in certain ways and change that design of that hock we talked about in class, as she's able to show out of it here in the profile. But when you see her get in motion, she doesn't flex as good. The shorthorn female here, good class of breed division of females there. This one has some out there parts, and it's probably the easy one to gravitate to from an eye appeal standpoint. But young cattle can change a lot, so you have to really rely on your eye and your priorities to say, do I want to put all my chips into this one here? Or, I think she offers a lot of good, folks, so there's no doubt about it. But, what will she grow into? When we talk about females that are a little bit older, you kind of see what you get. There's a lot of future in this female. I think she has a place in the breed. She certainly stands out in my mind. I think she has a lot to offer. Then we get into that plus division here, a female that I was just more comfortable with at the surface, and her feet and legs, her structural integrity. The foundation was really, really good. I liked her depth of side. Maybe doesn't quite have some of those out there features from front to back. Perhaps could be just a little stouter made at the surface to kind of have a little truer with the base from that perspective. Those reserves are good females, and perhaps on a different judge they go the other way. And so there's a lot of good there, folks. Take what feedback you can, continue to improve the cattle that you have. That's our responsibility, is to continue to make better cattle, right? And I know there are some breeds that hold themselves back because they emphasize certain things, but those foundational things are super important. If you do that, you can build up the rest of that cattle that you have up above, and you can make a lot of really neat cattle down the line. So my congratulations to all our exhibitors, all our breeders here in the Heifer and Bull Show. It's really an honor and a privilege to be here. I appreciate being asked to come back. I want to thank Robin and her staff, the others that are here to help make this show, move along and make it possible. I know state fairs or any shows are not easy to do. It takes a lot of community support, but they're extremely important to help make sure that the general public understands agriculture, why we do what we do, and the importance of it. I live outside of Austin in Texas, and I'll tell you, no joke, there's a lot of people that don't know where their food and fiber come from. They just think it comes from the grocery store. But you and I know better, but there's a lot of people that don't. And so how do we bring them into the fold? They don't have to show cattle or show livestock, but how can they appreciate what we're doing, hopefully be a part of it in some way, and help us, further the agriculture industry, because it gets smaller and smaller every day. All right, so that's all I'll say about that. But again, honor and privilege. I love doing this, and hopefully you see that in how I communicate with the exhibitors. But I'll go show you the two that I like the best out of this lineup. Like I said, you can go a lot of different ways. You may like them a little bit different, and that's okay. But I'll show you those two. So let's give them all a big round of applause for taking the time to bring their cattle, exhibiting here at the Colorado State Fair. Congratulations to all our exhibitors and breeders. You brought an awesome set of cattle, and I appreciate that very much.
Congratulations to Dr. Richard Leone at Peakview Ranch with his Supreme Champion Open Female. The baby of the show that was born this February is our Supreme Champion Open Female. And Peakview Ranch will receive $1,000 and a banner, some other cash prizes, and congratulations to him. Our other Shorthorn, purebred Shorthorn, will move into the reserve drive for the Supreme Champion Open Female Reserve Choice. Oh, pardon me, I lied. I didn't mean to. She did move up. Congratulations to all the exhibitors. The Hereford entry, all of them, the Angus, the Herefords, the maintainers, Shorthorn, Shorthorn Plus. We appreciate the time and effort that you guys spent to come and enjoy the Colorado State Fair today. Congratulations again to Peakview Ranch, Dr. Richard Leone. If it's possible, we would like to have the Supreme Female and Supreme Champion Bull return just for a few photo ops, for marketing purposes, and just for overall everybody getting to view our Supreme Champion Open Female and Supreme Champion Bull. Why is he called an open bull in the book? Is that like front knee? Or even better, back knee? I will. Yes, sir. On the Supreme Champion Bull, there are 3 owners. There's Mr. Gene Salone, 333 Cattle Company, and Riley White are all partners on this outstanding Supreme Champion Bull. They're all from Wyoming. They live around the Cheyenne, Wyoming area. That's where they get their mail. And 333 Cattle Company, Riley White, and Mr. Gene Salone is our showman, and he's the one that went to the trouble to drive that calf down here. And what an impressive, nice-looking Hereford bull he is. Dr. Leone has re-entered the ring with his Supreme Champion Open Female, and that is a purebred Shorthorn raised at Peakview Ranch outside of Fowler, Colorado. Both of these cattlemen receive a $1,000 prize for the Champion Open Female and the Supreme Champion Bull, and plus the other premium money and any add-ons and things that came from their respective breed associations that are listed in the premium book from the American Hereford Association and the Shorthorn Association. There's other additional prizes that these gentlemen will receive for exhibiting at the Colorado State Fair. Once again, for those watching our show online with the live stream, if you don't know, if you're new to this industry, we're taking advantage of technology and the ability to use the World Wide Web. This is a marketing opportunity for both operations. And this gives you a good example of the type of cattle that you would see when you call them for making your next female and male selections. I'd like to recognize ringsidelive.co and Beverly Hill with her photography. She's been here, Beverly, correct? Yeah, okay, last name? No, I misspoke. I misspoke. Forgive me, please. Forgive me, Beverly. Beverly Englert Photography. She's been here since last, I'm sure, Thursday, and has been in and out of the ring and at the backdrop. She's putting in 12, 14-hour, 16-hour days sometimes. And she is a wonderful photographer that does an excellent job. Candids, backdrops. She really hustles.